Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to What We Thought Would Happen. We have a very special guest, an accomplished comedian, and one of the nicest in the business, but also one of the most prolific. Every time I see them perform, I see like new jokes. But my favorite thing about them is the cool way they dish out their comedy. Please welcome
the beautiful, the intelligent, and super, super funny
Kimberly Clark.
Oh my gosh. What
Hi.
a generous intro you gave me.
No,
that was so sweet.
No, you have such a good outlook on so many things. Actually, when I think of butterflies, I think of Kimberly.
That's the best joke. It really, it's a perfect joke.
It makes me think of Kimberly.
It's real though. It's so real to me because I like hiking and doing that kind and being outside. And that was like really like spot on how I feel when I see butterflies.
Yes.
Kimberly, do you mind telling it?
No. Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I do mine.
You have a few specials, right?
No, just one. That's just the one.
Is it that? Okay, because I saw someone was like paraphrasing your butterfly joke. I was like, no, I can't.
Okay.
Like another comedian did it, who shall remain nameless. In printed
Not
form.
stealing.
It was like a tweet.
Okay,
yeah, it was like a tweet.
Okay.
But it was not the same. I was like, it's so eloquent and beautiful. It's so funny.
Thank you so much.
What season were you on?
I was on season 2
of They Ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's only been 2 seasons. So.
Right.
No.
Ida was on the first? Or
she was
second?
on the first one.
Okay, cool. But no, Kimberly Clark, you're such a great comedian.
Thank you. I feel the same way about both of you, man.
Thanks.
Every time I see you, like, you were like a lighthouse to me during a really tough time when I lost my dad, and I did your show at the Steve Allen Theater. And I was going through it, because like I had come to terms with the death and everything, but I think my body started like manifesting the grief, and I had pneumonia. And so I was just coming out of having like walking pneumonia, and I did your show, but I still had an inhaler. Like I could barely like tell the jokes and stuff.
Wow.
But like you were just so kind to me, and you helped me out that night, and you were just like really, really encouraging to me. And every time I hear your name or see your name somewhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like my lighthouse. Like you,
so damn
you probably don't even remember, but like you really, I'll never forget that.
I think Laura denies her legendary status.
I think
that
she does.
is sweet. I think
It was just really, it was a rough time, and like. We all know each other as comics and everything. There's some kind, you're just like, a good acquaintance or whatever. But that, and I know I don't really like know you, but we've done a lot of shows and stuff like that together. But when you did that, I was like, oh my gosh, she's my friend for life.
Yeah, we have to see each other more often.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that you live so close by. We need to hang out because, I feel like I don't ever make new friends. Well, this is the whole podcast is like Daniel and I are new friends getting to know each other. And it's like, it's just,
I'm sorry for crying.
Oh, please.
No,
I love it.
When I talk about my dad, I get all.
Well, it's hard because both my parents are still with us, but we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like my mom and I talk about like, I'm like, you better haunt me, like that kind of stuff. But I get it because it's like we're what do you call it? You're in the fourth quarter, that kind of stuff. So whatever, it's one of those things. So I get it.
Yeah,
but I find death is the one time where I'm like, I actually don't want to perform. But it's like being under the weather, I can do it, all the other stuff. But it's like death, I just want to eat.
Well, with my mom is my whole act, so I hope she hangs around.
I'm still gonna talk about my mom.
Yeah.
She's a lot of my act.
Your family's in New York?
Syracuse.
Okay,
Well, my mother and I have a sister there, and then another sister in Albany, and a brother in Texas. So we all grew up in Syracuse. Though.
Yeah, where are you in the
motherland?
order?
I'm the baby.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
Yeah. You're the baby.
All the crying
The
and
sweet
stuff.
No.
Kimberly, what did you watch as a kid that made you decide that you wanted to be a comic or an actor? Was there something that, like a pivotal moment or something that you just said, okay, this is what I want to do?
All I did was watch TV in Syracuse because I didn't do snow. I'm serious. Like, I've been sledding 2 times in my life.
I love to do that. I go to, I'm old and I still go to Big Bear to go tubing, to get into entertainment. I loved that's
You're a
all.
snow bunny?
My mom and I used to go sledding together. That was all we ever did.
You are kidding me.
No, because I grew up near Buffalo, so always in the snow. But I loved doing that, and it broke my foot a few times, like skiing. Because I was drunk at 16 and trying to ski. But I wanted to be.
Right.
I wanted to
Snow
be.
bunny.
Yeah, but I was not.
Opposite. Man.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
when you say TV, I knew all the programs from Price is Right to Young and the Restless to. But you asked me specifically about what made me want to go into comedy. And I'm thinking about like all the TV shows I used to watch. I used to watch Electric Company. That was kind of funny and weird too. And like now that I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, like you need to be high to watch Electric Company.
There were so
right?
many
It's so psychedelic.
It really, What
was the other TV show you said? You said Price is Right, but what was the other one you just named?
I said Young and the Restless. I used to watch a lot of soap operas, honey.
You watched soap operas by yourself?
I used to watch the CBS lineup all the way through. I used to go from Young and the Restless to As the World Turns. Well, actually, Bold and the Beautiful used to come on after Young and the Restless.
Yep.
Then As the World Turns, and then Guiding Light. I used to watch that whole chunk as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I was a little girl watching.
So that Electric Company is what made you a comedian?
No, I used to, as a kid, I liked Whoopi Goldberg a lot when she used to do the one-woman shows.
Yeah.
Those are pretty funny. I used to watch all the sitcoms.
Yeah.
Did you have cable when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Okay,
we had
didn't.
cable. I remember watching Richard Pryor. It was a rerun of his special. And my mom was like, turn that nasty man off.
Yes.
And all that. I used to watch all the late night shows. I used to watch Carson. My grandmother hated Johnny Carson.
Oh, really?
Hated him. She was like, why does he laugh at his own jokes?
Wow.
She was like, turn that man off. It was my grandmother in Florida, my maternal grandmother. So I could watch it at home. But like when I was in West Palm Beach, she was like, you can't watch it here. I don't allow that, man.
Wow.
I used to like All in the Family too. And my paternal grandmother did not like Archie Bunker. And she was like, that racist man. And I'm like, it's comedy. But
what about Sanford and Son?
love Sanford and Son.
Oh my God. Can we talk about one of the times I was the loud neighbor?
Yeah.
And had to check myself. What is it? Who is Aunt Esther is on?
Oh, I love her. I used to.
LaWanda Page.
I couldn't wait till
funny.
she'd come in. Like whatever the episode was, I was like, I want that woman to come.
Someone has glued together the best of Aunt Esther and put it on YouTube.
I gotta watch it.
I was in my bed,
Yes.
like one of those days where you're in bed too long and I'm smoking weed and somehow went down a Aunt Esther wormhole.
Right.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard because LaWanda Page is the best on the Dean Martin roast.
She was a stand-up.
She's so funny.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Have you heard her stand up?
I didn't know. No, I didn't know. I didn't know
She's
that she was a
She
stand-up.
was hilarious. Yeah,
Damn.
very nasty.
Filthy.
She was
wow.
a stripper, I think, too.
It surprised me. I went to a party that was at Bill Maher's, and I asked for the bathroom. There was a host there who was kind of helping everybody because it's kind of like a park almost, his place. And they said we take a left at that first room, then a right, and then a left at the stripper pole. And he is the last person I would think of as an exotic dancer. I would never think that he practiced.
Yeah.
But I love that.
It's all about skin contact. That's
I
all you
know,
need. Yeah.
I know.
Skin contact.
But I like thinking of him on the pole. He wouldn't do it that night, but
He refused to perform.
yeah.
When did you come to California?
I came out here in 2000.
Really?
I've been out here a long time.
To do stand up?
No.
Oh.
I came out here directly after college. I wanted to work in TV because I was a broadcast journalism major.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went to Arizona State.
What about broadcast journalism was interesting to you?
That's
I'm
what
obsessed with it.
That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of amazing.
Really?
Uh-huh. And I didn't pursue it
I was
academically, but
I was trying to get into the Syracuse, the SI Newhouse School
Yeah,
of Journalism.
Newhouse School of Journalism.
But
yeah.
I couldn't. I actually, we couldn't afford it because they weren't letting me in right away. They said I'd have to do a year, and then I could get into it. And I was
major.
like, fuck it. So
Yeah. Bob Costas went there. Mike Tirico. A lot of like sportscasters went there.
So wait,
But-
what were your pursuits?
But I went to Arizona State.
yeah.
Why I wanted to get into it?
Like what? Yeah.
Well, there was a black newscaster in Syracuse named Jackie Robinson, who was a woman, ironically a black woman. And so like I always like looked up to her and I was like, oh, she's on TV. And I remember meeting her a couple times in person.
Oh, cool.
And so that was kind of my trek. I ended up interning in high school at a news station.
Oh, yeah.
They let me write promos and things like that. And
Oh,
so,
that's
See, I'm
great.
obsessed with local news.
but you know what's so weird too? When I come from LA and then come back home and I look at the newscasters back home, I'm like, they're covered. Like
Yes.
they look like they're gonna go to church.
Oh my God.
Nothing
Yes.
beats the LA. It's a
The
female
women
thing.
look, especially the women doing the weather, look like cocktail waitresses.
No, I have.
Yeah, they've got like
video of her. I took
they have
video.
got
She
dresses
looks
on
like
that are
Stevie Nicks, I
there's
swear
like
to
they wear V-necks that are down to their crotch.
First of all,
they were like this really like a disco dress. I don't know.
It's such a difference
Yeah.
when you leave LA. You're like, oh, that young lady has clothes on.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
little bit of professionalism.
Business casual.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
shout out
Oh,
to
right.
Evelyn Taft, who's my favorite local
All right.
meteorologist. No, but this other one, she looks like she has Real Housewife hair.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
Evelyn,
Yeah.
this other bitch. But she had, it was like she had smoky eyes, a
Yeah.
black fucking cocktail dress with sleeves, like Morticia
Oh my God.
Adams.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Come on.
Yes, I mean, like don't obstruct the map.
I remember when women, reporting the news didn't have acrylics that were like 3
Yeah.
inches long.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the Kardashian / Real Housewife franchise has given everybody this
That's
Fucking
the
tacky
aesthetic.
look.
this glam
That is the aesthetic.
for
But
what do you
it's
call it? The
tacky.
confessional,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
that look.
Yeah.
But everybody, that's what everyone's looking like.
Uh-huh.
No, I almost went into broadcasting because I was so obsessed with just like repeating the same headlines every 30 minutes.
So what turned you around?
Was so bad in school and I didn't want to do any of that bullshit.
Okay.
And frankly, my real-in was Robin Quivers doing the news on Howard Stern. I was like, I just like someone who's just reading the news. And
Right.
there's no...
Plus, she has a really good voice.
Her voice is
She does.
immaculate.
Amazing voice.
But, yeah,
She
but in a news structure.
Oh,
I
right, right.
loved her voice. But remember, headline news used to just be that. Before 9/11 and the news was not as insane
Dramatic,
and tabloid
yeah.
and sensational. It was so boring. And I that's what I loved. It was like, wow, someone just sits there and reads the same fucking story. The Pope was in Detroit today.
Although
Yeah.
they do teach you if it bleeds, it leads. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
They say that.
Mhm.
I went to the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism, so I got to meet Walter Cronkite.
Wow.
He had
Yes.
2 hearing aids.
Yes.
But he was sharp as a tack. He knew he was like with it, and he came to one of our classes and he talked to us.
Crazy.
We got to ask him questions.
Did you ask him?
Yes, and I asked him about the JFK assassination and if he believed it was a conspiracy.
Wow.
And he got a little ruffled.
Yes. How
Yes.
He was
amazing.
like, that's something that Oliver Stone, director man, cooked up, you know. And like he was like,
Mhm.
he was very like passionate about. I wouldn't say emotional, but it was passionate about
Yeah.
like how he felt about that.
There
Yeah.
is, I think I've talked about it before, but there's a photo of when Oswald shot, right?
Uh-huh.
The very famous photo.
Yeah.
But from the other side, there's another picture of all the journalists who were in the room. And I believe it's Bob Schieffer, Dan Rather, who's the other guy? Jim Lehrer. I want to say maybe Tom Brokaw.
Oh.
Okay.
All these young journalists are all in the room
Yeah.
when that happened. And there's a photo of them being like, ooh. Like,
Wow.
but-
Wasn't there the Lehrer report? Wasn't there a
the
show?
Lehrer Hour.
Oh, okay, okay.
Gwen Eiffel. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Loved
Gwen
her.
Eiffel.
I loved Gwen.
R.I.P.
She was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It's like her voice was so. I just loved like listening.
She had
to
a
it.
great voice.
Mhm,
Yeah.
for journalism.
Yes.
But what switched it over? Was it working in TV? That
You know what? When I took the journalism classes, they were not like very supportive of us. They were like, there are a lot of people that want to do this. And they were like, 70% of you will probably end up in advertising or PR. And I'm like, what is this?
yeah.
And then this was the part that got me out of there. When they were talking about focus groups, they do test groups where they send your 8x10 around and they tell you whether you should cut your hair or leave it
What?
long.
Wow.
This is a thing that they do for journalists. I don't know if they still do
To
it.
get you like TV, whatever.
Right. Like they
likable.
do tests with
What?
audiences. And so if the news station, I think Oprah has a story about like the news station talking about her eyes being far apart and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so a lot of these journalists, they would get plastic surgery or get their hair changed or whatever. And the hair was really sensitive for me. I was like, I'm not changing. I like to do different things with my hair. And I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
And you got notes on that?
I didn't get notes on it, but I was just listening to what you have to go through to be like in front of the camera like that. And I was like, maybe I need to. And then at the time too, I was getting more into like creative writing more so. I was in like a spoken word poetry group and I started getting into that. And that's kind of like when I kind of knew stand up was a thing. I didn't know it was stand up, but all my poems were funny.
Yes. Oh, right. Okay.
And so whenever I would like get up to the mic to say a poem, people were already laughing because they were like, oh, it's going to be funny.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
Like, this might be something, but you know.
Is that where you like found your voice?
Definitely was like the beginning stages of finding it for sure.
So like on campus in Arizona, you said,
Arizona.
Did they have like a cafe thing or whatever where you could go and try out even just poems and stuff like that? Like there was kind of like a scene.
Well,
of young
like an open
people.
mic.
Yeah.
We started a group basically on campus. And so we put on shows and stuff where we did poetry. There was music. Some visual artists would like have their paintings up afterwards. So it wasn't really like an open mic scene proper. But what's so funny is they still do these open mic shows now, like after we've left. One of the guys that was like the founding members, he like does a poetry event in Phoenix, which is kind of
really
cool.
Nice. Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
it's cool.
That's
so
really good.
I'm not doing poetry anymore.
right, yeah.
They're doing it. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
How was comedy coming out of the pandemic for you? Was it different? Was it scary? Because you had a special
during the pandemic, which was nuts. It almost seems like career-wise, like things started happening during the pandemic for me.
But there were so many ways to not be able to ride that wave during pandemic when there's like shows to be booked on. Or, you know what I mean? Just ways to really kind of...
It was a lot. Yeah, and even like getting that call that I got it, I was like, okay, now where am I going to run this set?
With nobody around.
Where you can't go indoors anywhere. You know, I was doing like shows outdoors and stuff like that. There were some comics that were on season 2 that were actually already on the road. And doing stuff. And I was like, you know, but I don't have no road gigs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did like an outdoor show at UCLA, which was like really cool. It was crazy too because hours before I was supposed to do that show, we had this crazy ass like family drama Zoom call.
Oh no.
And I'm like, and after I got off the call, I was like, I don't even want to do stand up right now.
No.
You know?
That's awful.
And actually this was right before I got the call that I got They Ready. And I was like, I'm gonna go anyways. And so I get to UCLA and I was like, anybody here ever had a family unspilling secrets Zoom call during the pandemic? And everyone just bust out laughing.
Yeah.
And I had a great time. And then like the next week, Tiffany calls me and I'm like, oh my God.
Amazing.
Oh, that's so great.
A lifesaver.
I love that.
It really was.
Right?
It really was. It's amazing.
I had to do a Zoom funeral during pandemic. Have you had to do that?
I've heard about them.
Well, first of all, turn your camera off. Just start with it off. Don't even try to go through the like all that bullshit. But the best part, it was so strange because it was like,
so you're watching the eulogy, you're watching people crying. What?
Yeah. Okay. So you see the grid of family members. And it's even how it's like a small funeral's embarrassing, but when it's a small Zoom, right? That's even like everyone's just staring at the camera. Some people are eating, and each person you take there's an there's like a program, and people are just telling their parts. But some of it's hard. People are really far away and wanted to be together but couldn't. So there's a lot of that tension. But there's one member of the family who's sort of closeted, but I'm not going to out them. But they're whatever. They're on the fucking LGBT spectrum, and they out themselves all the time, even though they don't actually say it, right? And one was this guy's picture tribute to his mother. So I'm not making fun of him for losing his mom, but he was like, I edited this together, please enjoy. And it was this fucking video footage of his mom
I edited it to "It's Raining Men."
No, but he put it to a Kate Bush song.
Oh my God.
And that's been not only my camera. See?
And say it together.
First of all, nobody in the family knows who Kate Bush is except me. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm the only one, and I'm also the only you-know-what in the fucking family.
Oh.
So that was when it was like, thank God my screen's off, and now I have to mute myself. I was dying. I was on the fucking floor. I couldn't believe, because guess what? You have to listen to the whole song.
So, was it This Woman's Work? Was it?
No. I could not. The minute I heard, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was
That's
like, I
hilarious.
cannot believe
There's
it.
something
Yes.
hill.
I was like, what are
right?
we
Whatever
even
the fuck
doing?
that is.
Yes. Running up that hill. Yeah. Kate Bush.
Okay.
I was deader than the person we were eulogizing.
Lowered into the ground.
Did they
down
show
the
the
hill.
bodies in this?
No, because she was. That's a great question, actually, because she was like, I was gonna say crematized. That's not the word. She was
That
cremated.
sounds fun.
Right?
You just dunked into a vat of cream.
It sounds like
and
hot
then
fudge is
mixed
involved.
around.
Right? I want to be. Remember on Double Dare when you'd go down the slide and you'd into the thing?
and into the cream.
And it looked edible.
Hell.
I love that.
Wait, but you worked on game shows.
Did I work on a game show?
Oh, you did? Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah,
Price
yeah.
is Right.
I was
Really,
a-
you've had so many jobs out here.
Listen, you got to jog my memories. But yes, I was a page at CBS.
Oh, okay, a page.
And
So what does a page do?
child,
What
you
are
wear,
they?
you wear the little red jackets,
Uh-huh.
and like for Price is Right particularly, we wrote the name tags for people. So you had to write like very print skinny to fit some of the names, because some of the names are like really long. So I learned how to print like very skinny ends. And
There's kind of a
T's.
font to that, though. You have to make it look like the name. You can't come in
you
with
gotta
your own
look-
handwriting.
Yeah,
right?
we did that. We also had to go
Wild.
through the mail. People will write letters to like the Barker Beauties,
Mm.
to Bob Barker.
Uh-huh.
People would complain there were too many black people on contestants row. And it was crazy.
Yeah.
The creepy like jail people will write these love letters. It was weird.
Oh,
wait,
to the
yeah.
Barker Beauties.
You
and
were
stuff.
there in the Bob Barker days, not the Drew Carey days?
Yeah, no, I worked on a Drew Carey show before he was on on
On a sitcom.
Yeah,
Oh,
CBS. I was
wow.
like not a page, but a PA on that after I worked
You're
on.
living like my mom's dream life. Those are like her two favorite shows.
Yeah, after I worked on at CBS as a page, I went over to the Drew Carey show. And I was like a PA for the last 2 seasons of that show.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was there during Bob Barker.
Wild. Oh, I
Yeah.
pictured
He was
when
great.
you
He
said
was
it, I thought-
forgetting things when I was there.
How
He
so?
was, like, because sometimes the answers would be in his pocket for some stuff. He would reach in his pocket and read, and like he would like forget which pocket, like little things you could tell, like
Yeah.
things
Pull up
were
the dry
happening.
cleaning receipt.
Yeah.
Which Barker Beauty he fucked, or was it?
Yeah, he
Wow.
was getting up there. He said he addressed me about something too, because I was like standing
Directly?
Yeah, because we had to stand by the stage.
Yeah.
While the filming was going on. You
In
can't
case he died.
You crazy.
Someone has to catch him.
Okay.
But yeah, we used to stand by the stage. I remember doing that. This was so long ago. But I remember like he would take questions from the audience, and an audience member asked, "How do you become, a page like the people wearing the red jackets?" And he was like, "Young lady, how did you get your job?" And he was talking to me, and I was so like stunned. And he was like, "This young lady doesn't even know how she got here." And everybody laughed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
My sister, with the new crew of Barker Beauty, whatever they're called now, but there's a blonde. Anyway, my sister was in a wedding party where she's a bridesmaid, and one of the bridesmaids is that Barker Beauty.
Really?
She's like, and my brain, I'm like, I want to ask 100 million questions. She's like, well, try just taking a fucking photograph with someone whose job title is beauty, and everyone's in the
Yeah.
same shitty dress, but
Yeah.
she looks like a movie star because she's a model.
Oh
Right.
man,
she's like,
that's
it's-
a lot. You have to put makeup on every day if you're going to do that job, right?
Oh, I could.
That's a lot. I know, but I mean that's a lot to
Yeah,
live
it's a
up to.
lot.
Barker Beauty.
I'm obsessed with the like 80s, 90s Prices Right, the old Prices Right.
The prizes look like crap in person.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Because when you get up on them, they're all dull because they don't want anything shiny because the camera.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's crap. I'm like, I wouldn't want this in my garage. Like, it looks horrible. It's weird.
Was that what were you doing when you were working those jobs? Where you were like, I want to work at CBS and I want to be a page because
I was trying to get on a TV show, to be a PA, to be a writer on a TV show.
Oh, okay.
That was the trek at the time.
Yeah.
I also worked at the Laugh Factory during that time as well.
Which one?
Hollywood.
Yeah.
With Jamie Masada.
That place has crazy energy. Am I wrong?
It does.
I feel like it's got like a weird energy. I feel like there's something like buried under that
Something
room.
weird is going on there, right?
Well,
Or
there
dealing
was
or
the
something.
club, and then there was also the offices that were like across the street, kind of like on
Yeah.
Laurel Canyon. So I used to work in there with Jamie, and that's also old as well, and has a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
But I was working like 3 jobs at one time, just piecing them together because nobody was paying anything at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted the experience.
Yeah. Was he an asshole to work for?
No, he was actually nice to me, but
Okay, good.
I've seen him do some things with other people, and
Yeah.
I was just like, and that's what encouraged me to not go there the first time I tried stand up.
Oh, yeah.
I did not go there at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Why?
went straight to the Comedy Store because I don't know. I just felt like people wouldn't respect me because they
Because you
knew me
worked there.
as somebody
Yeah.
that
Okay.
worked there.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that on me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go somewhere, just a clean slate. Jamie was cool to me. I wanted to keep my relationship cool
Yeah,
with
yeah.
him too.
Yeah.
Years later, I did a show. He was like, "Sweetie, why didn't you tell me you was doing stand up?" And I'm like, Jamie, you know, you know how it is.
How do you? So you said you went straight to the Comedy Store. You like it there?
No,
It's weird there too.
it's weirder there.
Yeah,
to
it
me.
actually is weirder there.
Yeah?
The Comedy Store.
Scarier.
I just feel like I just think there's something really bizarre. Like there are people that are in line to get in, and then there are people that are kind of in line that seem to work there or just, I don't know. I feel like
It's
the
like a
whole thing is a
vortex.
front for something
Yes.
else.
Yeah. It also
Yeah.
has front energy. For
Yeah.
sure.
Energy.
Yeah.
There was okay when I lived in Austin. I was in a neighborhood, but out of nowhere there were 2 like convenience stores. One was called the Stop and Save, and the other one was called the Shop and Save. Right. And one day, I was a college kid, so I bought all my groceries at the gas station. Right. And I remember one time I was like, my cereal's expired. That's weird. And I
Right.
looked. I was like, my milk is also expired. So I went back to return it to the gas station, and all of it was expired. I was like, well, that's weird. And then across the place, they had like Newsweek, Us Weekly, or what, all the magazines from when the Space Shuttle Columbia had exploded.
Weird.
But that had happened like months before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then one day I caught on the news that one of them had been robbed, but I didn't know which one it was, the Stop and Save or the Shop and Save. But then it turned out it was an inside job from the other guys. They robbed the other one so they could collect the
Insurance.
insurance.
Insurance. Oh,
Yes.
damn.
Yeah, that's
Oh, my
nice.
God.
But the whole thing was a front. All their shit was expired. They were selling weird
Oh.
old magazines.
Yeah.
I wonder what they did. Like, did anybody try to buy stuff?
What do you front
What do
for?
you
Hookers
buy?
and sex and drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Weapons.
So nobody just wandered in, other than you, wandered in there.
I probably
to actually
interrupted
buy
their
something.
business. You know what I mean?
There's probably a back room where they were
Yeah.
really, where
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
went down.
Yeah.
Like they're collecting, they're conducting illegal business, and then my fucking faggot ass is wandering on deciding which box of Raisin Bran I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
They're like, can
Yeah.
he just get it and go? Right? Who do I
This
talk
guy
to?
again.
Right? He keeps looking at the milk funny.
Man.
Hilarious.
So wait, do you try? We talked about earlier. I like to tour.
Yeah.
Do you travel a lot? Do you like touring?
I was just talking to you about this. I did a date with Ida Rodriguez. We were at the Tacoma Comedy Club. I had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With her. I think it all depends on who you're with and
Yeah.
what the circumstances are. Because I did do colleges for a minute. And
How was that?
I
did
some
them-
were good, some were bad.
I liked them when they were bad. Like,
Did you really?
Because you just you have to. It took me a second to learn it.
Man.
Yeah.
Like lean into
To
it
lean
and
into
throw
it.
it all away.
I
Yeah.
did a college in Fairbanks, Alaska, and it
Oh,
was
my
was
God.
in a cafeteria.
Sure.
And that's a young woman who was showing me around like the day before I got there. It's like, yeah, and it was in the winter and it was pretty dark. And she goes, yeah, you have to do whatever you can to, try and stay happy. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to be performing here tomorrow. This is going to be a disaster.
No.
Everybody's so bummed out to begin with.
Right.
But they were actually really nice. I think they were glad just to have a comic come out there.
Yeah.
So it was fine. I did all right. Just like going from one club to another. And I don't know why I just had this sad feeling like, oh, why don't people do coke anymore? and they probably still do, but I just don't know where to get it. And it's like, it's like in the 90s, it was still everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
I
feel like it's everywhere now.
Yeah, it still is. I just don't, whatever.
I was at a bachelor party and one of the bachelors elbowed me and goes, you look like a guy who knows where to get blow. I was like, I don't. I mean, maybe I do look like it, but I don't know where to get it. But thank you for assuming.
Yeah.
Have you gone back home and done like stand up in like Syracuse or?
I did during the summer. I just did like a set at the Funny Bone. I didn't even go there the last time I was there, in November. It's all right,
Yeah.
Just felt like plus the Funny Bone is like in the middle of the mall.
Oh, yeah, that makes things weird. I don't like that.
So that's a whole different beast.
Yeah. Boyfriend brought this has happened twice now, where he's brought a friend, which I never really encourage anyway, right? Like, there's such a difference. I'd rather perform in front of strangers. I don't. I never want.
That's my preference.
Right?
So, I don't like
because then you have to take care of them or see what they're, and listen to their bullshit afterward.
Oh, that. The
my favorite
chat.
thing is, well, I thought you were funny.
Oh, my Christ.
Jeez,
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't
God
do that.
almighty.
Well, because when you bomb in front of strangers, you're like, who cares? But when you bomb in front of someone you're like, I'm bombing in front of this person.
Yeah.
But they were at the improv.
Or there's the fake, like, a kind of like, you were so good.
Yeah.
They give you a look and rub
Shoulder
your
rub. Don't rub my shoulder.
Yeah,
Or they try to analyze why the audience wasn't laughing. That's the one. I just think the people around me were laughing. That's my favorite.
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, were y'all sitting outside? Where were y'all? But both times.
Were you at home?
Both times it was the improv show, the Ontario one that's at the mall.
Yes.
And then the other one,
shit.
Irvine, that's also at the fucking mall. Which is the hit or miss,
The
right?
Irvine one, I feel like, is a little bit more outside than the Ontario one. Ooh.
That one's the mall.
Yeah, that's the mall.
Is Schaumburg, have you been to that one in Illinois? It's not Chicago, it's Schaumburg.
Schaumburg.
Yeah.
Shit.
But it's the same
different.
thing. Yeah. Because the people, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm performing at the AMC. Like, I may as well, right?
Exactly.
Like,
You're an attraction.
I may as well just be like opening for the movie.
Chuck E. Cheese animatronic
Is it
situation.
you were the baby growing up?
Yes.
Are your siblings, were any of them like performers? Were you a performer as a kid?
Yeah, I used to perform for Mrs. Cryer across the street.
Yeah.
I used to love, like, because it's such a big gap between me and my siblings. Like, they're almost like junior parents. Like, they were teenagers when I was born. But my mom used to be a majorette, so she still had her baton. I used to twirl my baton, in front of the house and dance and do all kind of stuff. And Mrs. Cryer, she used to tell my mom, that Kimberly, she is so entertaining. I could just watch her for hours. I used to do that kind of thing.
We had a porch that it could be a stage. Do you know what I mean? Like easily. Yeah, but I did shit like dance with my sister's pom-poms and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And still pretend like I should still signed up for the football team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, who were you fooling?
I was heavy on Solid Gold and Fame. Those were the other shows I used to watch too. So that's why I was like dancing.
I remember watching Soul Train and having a kind of a crush on Don Cornelius and thinking, God, I wish I knew anybody that dressed like that.
You could have
that
pulled
looked
Don.
like that.
Yeah. That voice.
But I don't know. It was just like, I could probably look like Don. I could probably dress like him with the ties and everything. But I just thought, like, how do you get to be on a show like that?
Soul
Dance,
Train. I think it moved from Chicago to LA. I believe that's the history.
Did you ever watch? But it would follow...
It went on to the 90s. I mean,
I watched
stopped
it.
and started,
Because I remember we had a new pool and I was swimming in the new pool on Saturday and my dad seriously called, which we never, because it followed Casey Kasem's countdown on Saturday morning.
Oh,
So
yeah, I remember that too.
And then there was the end of the cartoons was Casey Kasem, and then it was Soul Train, and then Saturday morning was like officially over.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was over, so I was on the pool, like getting on my float. Like, when you just barely adjust to the water temperature. And my dad, and I was so excited too, was like, son, Shanice is on TV. And I bolted. I was obsessed with that song. And she was lip syncing.
I love your smile.
Yes. I love that song.
It's a good song.
It's beautiful.
Very good.
Funny.
It's very uplifting.
Yeah. The reverse side of the single just had the instrumental. So
really?
I can have my own
Blow,
version.
Bradford, blow. Remember that part?
Yes.
She's talking to Branford Marsalis.
Oh, yeah.
Blow, Bradford, blow.
Wow.
She's so sweet.
I know.
I met them actually when I worked at the Laugh Factory. Because she's married to Flex Alexander, who is the actor. Remember that show, One on One?
Uh-huh.
He was the dad.
Okay.
If you Googled him, you'll know him immediately.
You've met Shanice.
Yes, like her and Flex came into the Laugh Factory.
Wow.
And they were so nice. Like they gave everybody hugs.
Oh my God.
Like they're like just beautiful people.
Yeah.
Like inside and out.
She's so cute.
She was very cute.
Who are famous people? Because you're like I was a TV nerd. That's like all I did. I watch movies. I love movies. But I think, Laura, are you more into movies than TV?
Gosh, I remember like seeing a lot of TV movies. I'm so old. I had a crush on Robbie Benson.
Who?
Robbie Benson.
Who?
He's a director now, but he was in a lot of movies in the late 70s,
Ice
80s.
Castles?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah.
That movie was sad, and she went blind or something, but she was still skating.
Yeah, and tripping over the roses.
Yeah, she was tripping over the roses.
We forgot about the roses. Really? That's the only
so
fucking thing.
sad.
She's blind and skating, and she won, and that's the one thing that
This
she trips
guy?
up. Yeah.
Oh, he is?
I totally had a crush on him. And also, my mom would say...
He's all right.
My mom and I watch everything together, so she'd say, he has such a funny voice. Well, doesn't he have a weird voice? I said, I don't know. Your voice has been in my ear the whole goddamn time. Can I just watch Robbie Benson? That's all I want to see.
Uh-huh. Are there famous people you've worked with or met that like floor you, or you're like, I can't believe this is my life?
Laugh Factory again. I got to meet Paul Mooney. That was cool.
Oh, wow. He's a writer.
Did you read his books?
Nice.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I got his book.
Yeah, his book is so funny.
But when he met me, he was like, Jamie, you hired a black woman. I'm shocked. And she has big lips. I was like, oh my God, Paul Mooney just...
Oh my God.
He was so nice to me though. He
That's
gave
incredible.
me like advice and everything.
What did he tell you?
He told me you had to be fearless in this industry. And it was before I even tried stand up. You know, I'm just working at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
But he was telling me you gotta be fearless. It's so important to be fearless. He was so cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
I saw Rodney Dangerfield.
Really?
Before he died.
Wow.
He was wearing a robe.
What?
And he did a set at the Laugh Factory.
He was wearing like a
Incredible.
bathrobe?
That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like a smoking jacket or something.
Yeah, it looked like a smoking jacket /
Yeah.
bathrobe.
Oh, wow.
And he obliterated the room.
Wow.
Wow, you got to see Rodney Dangerfield?
Crazy, right?
And were you like a fan of stand-up? I mean, obviously you're working at a place like
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, like I watched stuff like, you know, of course, Eddie Murphy. I watched SNL. My dad, actually, his favorite comedians were Flip Wilson.
Oh, I remember.
Flip Wilson
Yes.
and Red Skelton, which is
love-
like the weirdest combination.
Yeah.
But they're from,
But I knew who Red Skelton was as a kid. You know, my
Yes.
peers didn't know. And then my
Yes.
dad used to also listen to the radio shows, like the repeats of them.
Oh,
I
okay.
did.
They used to play them. So I know about like the Great Gildersleeve and
Yes.
like Jack Benny.
Jack Benny
Oh,
is
yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
All that.
I
Yeah.
love
And
Jack
so
Benny.
it was really cool to like be exposed to that as a kid. So I didn't know I was being indoctrinated until
Yeah.
like I actually started doing it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, I have all this like groundwork that was already laid. that
Yeah.
I didn't like put down purposely, but it was just there.
I remember like laughing with my mom like really hard when Flip Wilson did Geraldine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I was like,
He's like,
just
that
so
was
damn
like
funny.
Shanae, you know.
I love
Wanda.
Shanae. No one. Same thing. Boyfriend, there's a few things he doesn't know.
He doesn't
Most
know
of-
who Shanae
Well, he
is?
didn't know who Martin was. Like
Okay,
the whole.
but didn't know
Okay.
Shanae.
Okay, here one. This is such a weird wormhole, but he's like, "Do you want to watch Little Shop of Horrors?" I was like, "Not
Oh,
really,
boy.
but okay." But out of nowhere, he's not that kind of faggot. But he knows every inch of that movie, right?
Okay.
oh yeah.
And so when he doesn't know who Martin is, I'm like, you know the backup singers, the doo-wop girls. I was like, have you ever? Does Damn Gina mean anything to you? But the whole point of me trying to get him to all of this was to get to Shanae. Because that was my favorite. It was so funny.
Yeah, and that was Geraldine.
Yeah. Flip Wilson doesn't get any credit for being brave enough to be a full-on like female
being in
character.
drag.
And funny, and it wasn't like there's nothing like anti-gay queer about it. He's playing a woman, it's like,
exactly.
And there's a lot of respect to it. My grandmother loved Red Skelton, right? So we would watch his shit. Her house had all the clown paintings. The Red Skelton, so hanging.
Wow, that he painted?
They would do prints. You could buy them in like
prints of what he painted.
Right.
Okay.
But then she had like clown ceramics and like a jewel case, like a display case.
That's wild.
But I didn't know all of it till way later. But she had like Red Skelton sad clown
and
shit.
she actually used to date John Wayne Gacy before everyone found out what he did, like as a clown.
My grandmother?
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, I thought you said she dated John Wayne Gacy.
No, my mom went on a double date with...
Wait, who was John Wayne?
He was the guy that killed. He dressed as a clown and killed a lot of young guys.
But no, that's not true. My mom went on a double date with...
that's what he was, serial killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know John Wayne Gacy?
I've heard that name, but
The
I just
clown
don't know.
killer.
He's a clown killer. Was that here in LA?
Oh, no.
No.
Chicago?
Yeah, it seemed like some city.
Or Illinois?
Yeah, but he was like,
My mom went on a date
church-going-
with a double date with a guy, Colin Davis. Have we talked about that?
No, I was kidding you about the...
Oh, no, she did. He's a murderer.
No, but I was kidding you about John Wayne Gacy. I know your grandmother didn't date John Wayne Gacy.
My mom went on a date with Colin Davis. Look it up. It was a Fort Worth. People love to say it was the OJ trial of the 70s or whatever. Heather Locklear played the wife in the TV movie.
Okay.
If that gives it any kind of street cred. But no, it was okay. So it was before he tried to murder his ex-wife. My mom was on a double date with his whatever current wife, who they're all these rich ass people.
Wow.
Mega rich.
Yeah.
$500 million back at then, which was a gazillion dollars. And so my mom, my little Tony Sue, just trying to make small talk on a date with all these rich people. She looks at the girlfriend and goes, so what do you do for a living? And she goes, I don't.
Oh my God.
That's really nice.
It's a great move. What a fucking bitch move, right?
That's really great.
I know.
Wow.
But her husband was a fucking mother.
I don't have to work.
He was like, you should look it up. It's a great story. Colin Davis. But
Colin Davis.
he was a lawyer, a rich lawyer, and his wife divorced him, and she got everything, and he couldn't handle it. So he hid in the house and tried to kill her, but killed everybody else but her.
Oh
Wow.
It's a wild story. Yeah, it's wild.
And your mother was that up close on that person?
And so she was on a double date, but what's even weirder is one of the people who was murdered was a former basketball player who was dating the ex-wife at the time, who my aunt dated.
Wow.
And that guy owned a bar. So when my mom went on the double date, it was to that bar. And my aunt and my mom knew all these. They were periphery to all these Dallas Fort Worth people at the time.
God.
Wow.
Colin Davis, look it up, because he got away with it. He bought, and his lawyer's name is something like Racehorse.
Yeah.
Like,
Texas is just like a sewer of greed and everything else. I mean, like the people really act on it. I mean, every place, so many places are really awful like that.
But there's a pride to that kind of nastiness there. It's like a I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really vile. I mean, I love Texas in weird ways, but like, especially now, not to get political, but the fucking psycho abortion thing that's happening right now, like today.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton? No. Have you seen this son of a bitch? When you see how fucking mutated his eyes are and how fucked up his face is, it's like it's hard to watch someone who's so anti-abortion, who clearly should have been one of the
abortions
aborted.
Yeah.
It's like he's a fucking like walking like masterclass, and why not everybody is chosen.
Oh my God.
He looks chewed up.
He looks rough. Yeah, he looks like one of my favorite lines ever is LaWanda Page to Jimmy Stewart at the roast, where she says, "I can't say you're a fine actor. I can't say nothing about you." Nothing bad about you, except your mama ought to fed you better. And then she goes, you look like spare ribs that have been gummed by the Harlem Globetrotter.
Oh my God. That's good. I like that.
Right?
That's a good one.
She has all the best lines. Everyone's making mafia jokes at the Sinatra roast.
Right.
And she's like, everyone's talking, she's calling you a big dog. She goes, I have news for you, turkey. She is so funny.
Oh,
She's good.
I love
man.
LaWanda Page.
Yeah.
So okay, wait. What are you working on? Where is comedy for you now?
I'm gonna come out with an album eventually.
Oh, great.
I've been working on that. You
Yeah.
said you got more than one special. I'm like, no, I just got the one.
I feel like I
Yeah.
see you.
I got the one special. I got the special before the album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, there's comics that have been doing this for less time than I have, and they have like 5 albums. I'm like, I don't even
yeah.
have one.
One.
I don't either.
In all of
You
Joan,
don't have an album?
nah. Joan Rivers only had one. Like
Did she really?
actual album.
Yeah.
She did specials
Okay.
like later, but
Yeah.
Right.
like record album one.
I see these younger comics. I'm like, damn, you okay? You
Yeah.
doing it? I mean, everybody's story is different.
Sure,
I'm not
yeah.
trying to crap on them, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, let me try to get one out at least.
I think I glitch on the album thing because I'm on this weird cusp of like when I was 18, 19, 20 was when CDs were turning into MP3s. And then that kind of thing was no longer marketable, sort of. You know what I
Right,
mean?
Yeah.
right.
So to have a audio merch, even in comedy, I was like, it's probably just like a byproduct, a side
Yeah.
thing when it is not at all. It's like,
Yeah.
Because you get your stuff played on, Sirius or whatever, which
Right.
yeah.
they play your specials on there too. And it's kind of nice to get a check.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to add to this.
It doesn't,
yeah.
it doesn't feel real to get paid for stand up.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't.
Like they can take it back.
Ha ha ha.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. The few times I've been paid for stand up, it's like
Yeah.
you're
The
just
few
like,
times.
you know what I mean? No, you're like,
You
how-
living, Daniel.
But do people? How do people
living,
not
right,
think
Yeah,
it's?
good God.
He's living.
Come on.
Is that like a thing? I always wonder, like people like mega successful, are they not? Is it not like a plague where you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose it all. I'm gonna lose it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody suffers from imposter syndromes. That's like
Yeah.
an
Is that
imposter
it?
syndrome
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt very like that.
Fear
It's giving.
of broke.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
giving imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Have some confidence.
Kimberly, are you seeing anyone? What's your
Oh.
I have to be a Jew and ask, or a half Jew and ask about relationships.
I am not. You know, I had a breakup like right before, well, not right before the pandemic, but in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I was with that guy for like 10 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time.
That's a long time.
So they say it's a certain amount of time.
Mhm.
Like the longer the relationship, the longer the recovery. So I was like, let me
Yeah.
heal properly.
Yeah.
Not try to jump into anything.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so, I was like, it'll be a couple of years. And then that couple of years like morphed into the pandemic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, I went on a couple dates during the pandemic,
Mhm.
but, not ready.
Yeah. That's
I feel kind of like I need to start dating. People are like, get on the apps. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, LA's a fucking vile town to like try dating in. Like,
Yeah.
On apps, I mean.
Yeah.
Pandemic-
Well, and off.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
On and off.
I feel like pandemic made me, I would like never date, but I think it turned, the loneliness made me codependent. Right?
Yeah.
Even without like a part, it just turned me into that. Where it's like, where it was like, oh, now I need that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe I could see that. I want a situation though where I don't want to live with anybody I love again.
yeah.
Like I want to just have separate dwellings but
Yeah.
still be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Even if I get married, I'm like, can we live in separate homes?
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite evangelists, the Crouch families, they had matching everything. Like his and her, they had a bunch of mansions, but they always had two right next to each other.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's how Goldie and Kurt Russell have stayed together so long.
Uh-uh.
They have an enclave. Like I guess maybe his house is down the street from her house,
Yeah.
but in this little commute, whatever it is,
Yeah.
like a cul-de-sac, something.
Keep it
Yeah.
lonely. Because
Yeah.
it's like, nobody wants a roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah, my boyfriend and I don't live together, but he has a nice place, and I think he likes it. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I'm like I don't want to take that away from
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. And I think after a certain period of time of like living alone or like liking your things the way they are, I just don't want to have those conversations
Oh, yeah.
about housekeeping and
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I just you do you the way you do you
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
let
yeah.
me do me the way I do me because I don't know, I feel like that was part of the destruction of my last relationship.
But if you're not
Part.
comfortable at home, it makes you mental, or not mental, but you can't
Right.
relax.
No,
it's
you
like when
can't.
shit's wrong at home, it makes me like you just can never be. That's even when having like noisy neighbors. I always talk about this. This is why I don't make friends with neighbors. Is
Yeah.
because the minute they're like,
Yeah.
And then you feel like that's gonna just like it's hanging like, oh my God, someone's gonna knock on my door.
I've even been like that with roommates. I mean, there was only one time where I moved in with two friends, but the other roommates that were just roommates, it was a roommate relationship.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not watching Alias with you and your friend. I'm not doing any of that.
Anything. Yeah.
And it's not I don't know, it's just better to keep it business so that when you have to have the hard conversations, it's not that hard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I do that.
Also, don't you think it's hard to be like a creative person, like a writer, and go in the other room and like close a door while you know someone's watching Northern Exposure on the other side?
Yeah.
Or just, I find that it's
a lot.
It's a static interruption or something. But my boyfriend's neater than me, and it does make me a neater person.
Okay.
Yeah. Me too, but I guess against my will. That's not how I really feel.
Yeah,
Do you feel like resentful a little bit?
Well, yes, definitely. But
does it feel like
even though he's in the other room, Kimberly, I don't mind saying that. I'm gonna have to face this, but no. But in a way too, I know like I'm so fucking disorganized. It's better to be neat and to put things away.
Yeah.
Because I can't even. Garrett was making fun of me. He said like that I can't even be on time here, like in our own house for this thing. But it's just like,
I had a roommate that would force you to compost, but if you put the wrong thing, like something compostable in the garbage, she'd pull it out of the garbage, but still leave it on the counter because I had to physically put it in the right bin. Isn't that fucked?
That's too much.
I thought that was so fucked.
Too much. She needs to live alone.
It was I was like, this is our
an
house
example right there.
But I was like, I'm not a child. Like, it's not like I need to be relearned this.
That's
like,
not cool.
Yeah, things like that would happen.
Yeah,
it was insane. We had a big fight. The biggest fight was over sesame seed oil, which is expensive.
Was it toasted?
That was it was so good. You know how olive oil has the spout, so you do a little bit out, it comes out, and sesame seed is just a huge gaping hole, and you pour one little thing, and the whole thing came spilling out.
Were you doing oil pulling with it?
I was sauteing vegetables, so the sad thing is I had to throw it all away because there was too much sesame on it. Anyway, it was the great unraveling.
I was watching one of my friend's kids, and she was like, "How old are you?" And I told her. She's like, "You're not married?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, be careful."
What?
Then she was like, "Are you asexual?" I looked at her. I had to think about it for a minute. I said, maybe I'm going in that direction.
Yeah.
It changes though. My sluttiness is definitely my perspective and everything has changed on it. That I also am like, am I asexual? Just because I'm not a slut, I'm like, oh my God, am I?
Yeah.
There's a time where I was like, I don't want to say I was wild, but
yeah,
I had a rotation. I had a rotation. Now I'm like, I'm in a different season.
Well, and
that's how you say it.
I think you get you get comfortable in. Sometimes I'll ask Garrett if he wants a blowjob, and he goes, "Nah." Like,
you just want dinner.
And he goes, because I talk during it. But I don't think that I'm talking during it. I have no concentration whatsoever. Because
you're interrupting yourself.
God. Yeah, like, what was I doing? Oh, that's right. I have your dick in my mouth.
No, we got to get you one track, Laura.
I know.
I can't
concentrate no matter what.
You can only open one drawer at a time.
Oh my God.
I think that was because I was like drunk or high or thinking of something.
Ask.
Yeah.
At least you ask.
Polite
That's
of you.
nice, right?
Hey, do you want one? Because I can try.
Right, it's going right. I've been thinking about it.
Come on, it's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes of both of our lives. Let's just go.
Oh, sometimes it's not 2 minutes. That's the problem. You think you're being generous, and you're like, I'm gonna suck some dick, and then it takes forever.
Oh
that is when I'm like, can we call it?
You guys are making me blood.
It's like, okay. Now you're not concentrating. Think about something.
Who's focusing?
Think about somebody who you want to suck your dick so we can get on with it.
But or it's like, you need to you can't set a timer because that puts the wrong kind of pressure. But it's like, you need to do something like order Uber Eats. So someone's coming to the door, Or you have to do it like Wheel of Fortune's going to be on in 18 minutes, right? Because it's like, I want to solve those puzzles.
Yeah.
I think I could clean up on that show. I really am going to audition.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it this week.
You're going to get on there.
I want to. What do you call it when you are up to bat and you blow it? What do you call it? You
Strike out?
Strike out. Yeah. Even if I do that. Mulligan? No, that's a redo. Yeah, even if I suck, I would still lose with a smile on my face. I want to do it.
Okay.
Do you like game shows?
I do.
Yeah.
I saw that Pressure Luck is kind of back, or they did like a holiday version.
Yeah.
I saw it when I was in Syracuse, and I was like, "Oh, there goes the whammies." And
in the same way, I'm nostalgic for like 80s Price is Right. Huge nostalgia. I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
The people, but the women on Press Your Luck have like a fucking orgasm every time. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy,
whammy, no
stop.
whammy.
And then they get like an armchair and they're like,
right.
lose their mind.
I've never seen it.
What?
Pressure Luck.
Yeah, I
oh
haven't
my
seen
god,
it.
Oh, it's so good.
There was
yeah.
a controversy about it. Like there was a guy that was winning them all the time.
He caught the rhythm, the pattern of which is hard to detect.
Wow.
But he was winning and it was inexplicable.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's like a documentary or something about
Yeah.
it, I think.
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm going to make you watch it today.
Okay.
It's so funny.
I feel like I can get stressed out and have anxiety over anything, and so I don't think I could do well watching that kind of
Did
stuff.
you ever watch Card Sharks? You never did?
I never watched that.
But do you know what it is?
I think I heard of it.
It's the worst. It's a horrible game and it's clunky. There's these fucking big cards you have to turn over. But the questions are so beyond arbitrary. They're like, what percentages of housewives like a gray Diet Coke cap? It's like,
wow.
and so you're not even asking. It's sort of Family Feud-ish.
Yeah.
But
Jeez.
they're all hypotheticals. They're not real. They're like 10%. And it's
Wow.
wrong. And so the other person will be like 11%. And they're both wrong. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it, really.
Right.
You're pulling like numbers out of thin air. But it's that same era. There's something about like
those game shows, the Pyramid Game.
I love 80s Pyramid.
Yeah.
That shit gets me like wound up. Right. It's back.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I was explaining to a boyfriend, I was like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like once you're in and they tie your arms down because you can't you can't like gesture.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your game show? What could you win on?
I probably would be good at Family Feud and Junior Jeopardy.
Junior Jeopardy.
You
that
know when the
shit's-
kids be on there? I'll clean up on that
That
one.
shit's hard.
or the first level of Jeopardy. Once you get in that second phase,
They
it gets
had
hard.
Celebrity Jeopardy just the other day, and that was hard.
Yeah.
I was like, when did they?
So, sometimes on the Alex Trebek Jeopardy, I wouldn't even understand the question. I think they were so difficult.
Yes.
Like in the Paleolithic era. What?
Yeah.
What? What is the category? I don't even get it. I don't even know what the fuck this is.
Right.
Kimberly, it was so good to see you
It was
and
amazing
talk
to
with
see
you. And
you
thank
guys.
you.
This was
Yay.
fun.
I'm glad you could be here.
Kimberly, how can people watch your special and see, and how can they keep in touch with you? Is it Instagram or?
I'm on Instagram a lot. My handle is Kimberly Clark Comedy. I have to think about it. Yeah. It's Kimberly Clark Comedy.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I post shows on there, and then my special's on Netflix. It's season 2 of Tiffany Haddish's Presents They Ready. I think I'm episode 4.
Oh, great.
Yeah, but check me out there. I have some projects coming out soon, so
Great.
That was thrilling to see you as a part of They Ready. Was it equally as like, oh my gosh, were you pinching yourself?
yes, I was. I had an anxiety attack though the night before it dropped because I was
Why?
like, "What happened?" I was nervous before actually doing it, and then I got over that. I was like, "Oh, I'm glad that's over."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Okay, it's coming out." I'm like, "Oh God," I felt it again.
Yeah.
Was she
But,
nice, Tiffany?
She's great.
Oh, okay.
Tiffany is amazing. And what's funny is I worked with her on something, and she said she was like, "I'm about to hook you up," and I was like, "Really?" And when people tell you things in Hollywood, you're just like, "Okay, whatever."
I'll believe it when I see it.
But she actually came back and got me and did that. So,
Oh, that's
amazing.
I love that.
she's a cool person.
That's
yeah,
nice.
She really is.
definitely. Very generous. Well, and so are you, though. You're
Yeah.
you're one of my favorite comics.
I know,
love
it's
you.
so fun to
I
see
love
you.
both
Yeah,
of you.
it's
Both of
great.
you are my favorite.
No, I
Yeah.
think you're so original and you are so singular and you have your like own vibe and voice and style. And that's like my favorite thing in comedy is when people just have that confidence.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
You're great.
remember, I think one of the first times I saw Kimberly was like at the Improv Lab. and you were saying, I love grocery shopping. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I do too. I love all kinds of shopping. But I was like, I've never heard a comic ever just say that I love grocery shopping. And I was just like, yeah, that's true. It's like, simple pleasure. And it's
I remember doing that joke.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about Fresh and Easy when there used to be a Fresh and Easy. And how it sounds like the name of a hip hop group from the 80s.
Hell yeah.
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 Well, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.